Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I have an update on my Franken palette, you guys. And you know what this project is all about. And if you don't, I'm gonna leave everything that it's about in the description box. But to summarize, I grabbed all of my Natasha DENONA collection of palettes. I removed the eyeshadows that I wanna use to create my own Franken palette with all Natasha DENONA shadows. And then I try to hit pan in as much shadows as I can during a 2-week or a 4-week period of time. And I've already posted the first update and I hit pan in 9 shades on my last and first update of the year. And on this one, you guys, I have a whooping amount as well, taking into account that I posted that video. You will be seeing this later, but I filmed that video about 2 weeks ago. So I have now 6 more eyeshadows that I hit pan on from my Natasha DENONA collection, and that makes me super happy. And I also grabbed a whole new set of eyeshadows to place on this new Franken palette that I will be showing you today. So without further ado, if you want to see the eyeshadows that I hit pan on, also swatches of the palettes, the complete palettes, the mother palettes that are the owners of these new 6 pans, and then you want to see my updated Franken palette, then just keep on watching. Okay, you guys, so for the Franken palette and how it's looking, you can see that these are 3 shades that have pan in them, and then 3 big shades that have pan in them. I almost hit pan on this one today, but since I used the Yucca palette today and didn't pull my Franken palette, I didn't hit pan on that one. Because what I do is I focus on the Franken palette to create looks with similar shades, and then that way every 2 days or every day I hit pan in a new eyeshadow if I can. Been working on this one and this one and then this one as well, then also this one and this one. But I still have a long way to go, and I'm thinking about switching up most of the shades to rotate everything and make a new palette to get even more inspired. Let's just go ahead and see from which palettes I have new pans. I know that these 2 are from Viva, these 2 I think are from Retro, and this one is from Sendo. And then this one, if I'm not mistaken, is from the Green Brown palette. So let me pull them out and see, and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so I was correct, and this is my Sendo palette. It currently has 3 shades on the Franken palette, and one of the shades that I have pan on right here, it's from this palette. So now it used to have 2 pans and now it has 3, and I hit pan in the shade Sense from Sendo. Last month I also hit 1 pan on my Retro palette, and now I have 2 more, and that's so exciting because one of the new pans came from an eyeshadow that I just added last month. So I hit pan on Andy from the Retro palette, which is a beautiful transition shade. It comes in the cream to powder formula. And then on Helio from the Retro palette as well. So now Retro has 5 pans, and I still have 3 shades that are on my Franken palette. So let's see if those will still be on the Franken palette. My Viva palette is one of my most loved palettes from my collection, and this is an all neutral palette, and this one has already 8 pans. So with these 2 new pans, it's gonna add up to 10 pans from this one. So I hit pan in Tusk, and then I also hit pan in Sculptor. And this one says a lot, you guys, because I have been using more grays and more cool tones. Today I did like a fall exception, but I've been using a lot of cool tone eyeshadows, and this palette is looking used and abused. It only has right now Tor, Pasha, Ryan, and Buff to work on, and also Prairie, but 10 eyeshadows out of 15 have pan in them. And then for my oldest Natasha DENONA palette, this is the Green Brown palette. And you guys, this has I think 11 pans. Yeah, it has 11 pans, and now I have 1 new pan to add to it, and it's the shade Indian Gold, which I've been working on for ages. And it has a little pan now, and it goes right here. So now it has a whooping amount of 12 pans, and this is still the palette that has more love when it comes to my Natasha DENONA shadows. And I know I can still have more pans in it. For me, the greens are harder, but all of the rest of the brown shades should have pan already, because this is a lovely, lovely palette, and it's a perfect palette for fall. So if you want to see get ready with me pulling this one and just creating a look out of this one, this would work just fine, because this actually it's similar or familiar to the Yaka palette in a way. And now you guys, I'm gonna remove all of these shades and I'm gonna place them right here on my Adept palette. And here I have all the shades that I already chose for my Franken palette. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose a couple, depending on how many fit on this little palette, and rearrange the palette, because I'm gonna show you the shadows that I already chose for this palette. It inspires me so much because it's fall related, but it also has a little bit of fun. So this is how I'm making it look. But of course, I always need a black and I always need a deep brown. And I have, I think, 2 shades from the current Franken palette that I'm working on that I know I can hit pan on soon. So I don't want to ruin the progress. And as you can see, this shade, I placed it right here and I want to work on it a little bit more to see if I can finish it eventually. So this is one of my most favorite shades and I don't mind having it even though it has pan. So that pan will not be counting towards the upcoming updates. Okay, so all of the bigger shades, I already placed them right here, and 2 of the small ones. And now I'm gonna place all the small ones that I already had chosen, and then we'll see if all of them fit, and then to add the 5 more that I chose from the Franken palette that I had currently on my rotation. If those fit, then I will leave them. Okay, so the only ones that I could place in were the black, which I need a black to make any palette of mine work. I need a black, so I'm leaving here the blackest black from the Dream palette, which is this shade right here that I've been using a ton. It's just that it's so pigmented that you guys can't see. And then this one, which I know will be a new pan for my next update, which is from the Pastel palette and it's the shade Dainty. So I don't have the names written down, but I know that I have palettes from almost every single palette in my collection. I have from the Viva palette, from the gold one, Trio Chrome. I think this is from the Sunset palette. This is from the Circo Loco. This is from Tropic. This is from the Lila palette. I have here this one from Yaka palette, Metropolis, Pastel, then Sendo, Dream, Love, and yeah. So I have a variety of shades from different palettes, and I think this is an inspiring palette. Of course, you guys, what I always do this. I start removing the ones that I hit pan on, and if I feel like there's another eyeshadow missing or that I need some other color, I will pull it in instead of that. I'm thinking that as soon as I hit pan on this one, I will add this deep brown from the Yaka palette. This is called Flax. That this was on my last palette, but I didn't use that much. But I always love to have a brown and a black, and I have a lot of transitions, but I don't have a deep brown in it. So that will be my first step. But I'm so happy that I did this. That's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. So far on this project, just starting out, I've hit pan on 15 shades. That means I hit pan in an entire Natasha DENONA midi palette or big palette, which both of those come with 15 shades each. And that's a lot, you guys. And don't forget to subscribe. Remember that I always leave a question in the comment section below. I love you, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.